Living in the global age that we do, it's important to be reminded on occasion that we humans are most at home in our local communities, where we both know and are known. I was therefore pleased when Wide Angle was recently asked to take part in Arlington Town Day, our community's annual celebration of itself. I used that occasion as an opportunity to talk with 4 people representing 3 local organizations, as well as have a fun conversation with our town manager about what it is that makes Arlington a town, as opposed to a city, it being Town Day after all. We hope you like this special edition of Wide Angle. Welcome to this special Town Day edition of Wide Angle. I'm Peter Bermudez with an opportunity to talk with Deanne DuPont and Julie Kremer from Food Links. Welcome to you both. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you, Peter. Hi.
Thank you.
You started back in 2012. I believe it was as the Food Recovery Act, or Food Recovery Project. And with the stated mission of alleviating hunger, reducing food waste, and contributing to environmental sustainability. A tall order for a small organization, particularly at the time. How do you go about trying to achieve those goals today, 4 years later?
Well, overall, our model has not changed in 4 years. It's gotten more efficient, and we've made some changes. But the way we do that is rescue fresh food from places like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. We deliver it to programs and agencies serving people in need. It could be at-risk youth. It could be food pantries, low-income housing. So it's a whole myriad of places that we deliver it to. And then food waste is a big climate issue. And in food is embedded energy, water, people's time. So by rescuing food, you're helping the environment as well and helping people.
Sure.
And in the beginning, we started very small. So it's the 2 of us and 1 Panera. And then it grew over the course of time to include 3 more Paneras, Trader Joe's, 2 Whole Foods, Prime Butcher, and Something Sweet Without Weed, and La Patisserie. Yeah. So we've increased our volunteers now to up to 105 volunteers. Yeah. And we're working, morning and night, doing the same thing we were doing on a bigger scale.
Right. We sort of chuckled last time we talked. It was about 2 years ago, yeah? And I think I suggested the notion of the 2 of you being eternal mothers to a fledgling organization. Mm-hmm. And in fact, as you suggest with 105 volunteers, it's not that way anymore. You have what looks to be a very healthy board, over 100 volunteers, reaching through food distribution upwards of 5,000 people a month. Certainly impressive numbers for 4 years of work. That said, would you like to have more volunteers if interested Arlingtonians were willing to join in?
Absolutely, we can always have more volunteers. We have people who often come off the grid because of winter or summer changes. We always have more pieces of it to put a person into. We need teams to work together. So we always need more volunteers, and then we also need people who can help us with other skills like marketing or development or technology that can offer things to us other than going to a location to pick up something.
And one thing is often when, particularly in the mornings, if folks volunteer and they get on a particular team, they form some bonds with the folks that they work with, and they really enjoy working with each other.
Right. A sense of time commitment that people would need to make in order to join and help out. I think it's not onerous, yeah?
Correct. It can be anywhere from an hour and a half to a couple hours if it's one project that needs to be done, and then they're finished. But because 3 or 4 people on a team picking up food, it makes it much shorter amount of time. There are unusual circumstances that may make it longer one day because a freezer broke down or something and we get an unusually large donation. But generally, they could count on about an hour and a half of time once a week, twice a month, once a month, whatever somebody can offer.
How about donations, either financial or in-kind donations? What kind of help in that respect could FoodLink use to continue expanding its mission?
Well, there's, of course, we welcome financial support because as we've grown, we've had to hire a person, an operations director, and we see in the horizon we need to hire another person. We also have a van. We have to maintain a van and things like that. Other things, we just have a bit of a laundry list of things that folks could help us out with. Sure. One of the things that we expanded this summer is working with farms and CSA shares that weren't collected, and we became a way that folks could, as long as we knew who they were, donate their CSA shares to us. So that's one way, or a few ways.
Thank you both for taking a few minutes to chat with me, as well as for your continued work with FoodLink.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For Deanne DuPont and Julie Kremer, I'm Peter Bermudez. Thanks for joining us for this special edition of Wide Angle.
Hi, it's Susan Karp, the Executive Director of the Arlington Council on Aging and host of Living Out Loud. Today I'd like to mention the idea of the food pantry. Did you know that 50% of the participants in the food pantry are seniors in Arlington? So if your shelves are looking a little bare, if we can help with some of your expenses, give our office a call. We can give you more information on the Arlington Food Pantry, 781-316-3400.
Welcome to this next special Town Day edition of Wide Angle. I'm Peter Bermudez, speaking with Pam Hallett, the Executive Director of the Housing Corporation of Arlington. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking a few minutes in the midst of the busyness to talk a little bit about housing.
Thank you.
So, and thank you, because you are this year, the Housing Corporation of Arlington is celebrating a 30th anniversary.
We are, which is quite amazing.
Congratulations, quite a milestone for sure. And really 30 years of helping people, either would-be renters or homeowners of low or moderate income, get a foothold in Arlington. Certainly over the 30 years that the corporation's been working, how they went about that has evolved substantially.
Actually.
So how today is the Housing Corporation of Arlington helping people afford to live in Arlington?
Well, right now we have 93 units that we rent to people that make at or less than 60% of median income. So for a single person, it's roughly $40,000 to $43,000 a year. That's where they have to make that or less in order to become one of our renters. They can make more over time and stay in the unit, but that's our goal, is to work with thousands of families in the town to find and have stabilized housing.
Right. I think there's also a project that you folks spearhead called the Homelessness Prevention Project.
It is.
And what does that look like, and what does that do?
Well, we raise money every year from the households in Arlington to support this program, Homelessness Prevention. What we do is we give small grants to people that are in danger of losing their permanent housing. So it could be they've fallen behind in rent because they've lost a job, or they've gotten sick, or other medical emergencies, or any other kind of emergency. Or they need money to help move into another affordable unit, or to pay a security deposit or first month's rent, something like that. So we have an application, they come in, they meet with our social worker. If we can determine that it looks like they have a plan to be stable for at least the next 6 months, then we can give them up to $1,500 as a grant.
In your response to my first question, you sort of predicted one of my questions, which was this notion of affordability. Yeah, of course, what is affordable is a relative term, and what is affordable for one wouldn't necessarily be affordable for another. So it's a 60% of area median income. All right, and is that a state metric?
It's determined once a year by HUD, so it's a federal determination. They take a local region, so we are part of the Cambridge, Brockton region, and they determine what area median income would be, and then we have to abide by that. They not only set the median income, but they also set rents, maximum rents that we can charge.
Right. With all of that said, who are the individuals, who are the families that should come to the Housing Corporation of Arlington in looking for assistance? What are the characteristics that you're looking for?
Well, first of all, let me say we have 1,000 households already on our wait list, and we only have 93 units. Right. Another 60 in development, but so the people who are still looking for housing range anywhere from young families, sometimes students, graduate students with children, sometimes singles. They go all the way up to large families, to senior citizens who are either living on a fixed income, have lost their job, or have had to sell their house because they can no longer maintain it and pay the taxes. So
The housing authority, yes, is another option for people.
it's a separate entity.
Yep.
That is a state organization. They do have many more units than we do. The majority of them are for senior citizens. I think it's for 60 and above.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Pam, for taking these few moments to talk with me.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you for remaining, I think, a moral force in Arlington.
Thank you.
For promoting the idea that housing is a right and not just a market-based commodity.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And there are lots of people who've lived here in their entire life who are now finding it difficult to stay in stable housing.
For Pam Hallett, I'm Peter Bermudez. Thanks for joining us for the special Town Day edition of Wide Angle.
Welcome to the Retired Men's Club of Arlington. My name is Phil St. Marie. Meet the friends you haven't met yet. We have 500 members. We have lots and lots of organizations to meet the friends with your own common interests. And come on down. We're looking forward to see you. Several years ago, I was wondering what I was going to be doing when I retired. My wife's father was in this men's club. The guy across the street was in the men's club. Down the street was in the men's club. So I said, hey, I'll give it a shot. And the rest has been magic. This is about friendships. We have golf, we have the speaker meetings. This is how you meet the friends. You get involved with these activities. And it's just a rewarding, fun experience. If you'd like to know more about the men's club, fine. If your wife wants you the hell out of the house, that's fine too. So come on down. There's lots of friends that you've yet to meet.
Welcome to this special edition of Wide Angle. I'm Peter Bermudez, and I am sitting across from Sherry Barron, a 20-year member of the Arlington Human Rights Commission. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for taking a few minutes to chat with me.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely. Certainly when I think of the notion of human rights, my mind immediately goes to sort of a national, international level. I think of crises like torture, genocide. How does human rights play out at a town setting, in a town like Arlington?
Well, the Human Rights Commission was established to act as an avenue for anyone in a protected class, of which there are more than 15 probably by law, to come forward and file a complaint if they feel they've been a victim of a hate crime or incident. Examples are racist graffiti, racial profiling. We've had instances of special ed students being harassed because of the real cost of special ed versus regular education.
So in terms of protected classes, we're talking race, we're talking special ability, we're talking probably now, given Arlington's recent shift, sexual and gender orientation as well. Are those the sorts of classes that the Human Rights Commission is working to protect?
Those are some of them. If you'd like, we have a list here that's age, ancestry, citizenship, color, disability, family marital status, gender, national origin, race, religious views, military status, sexual orientation, and source of income. Yeah. So it's a lot more than you would think, and our cases generally fall into those areas. We don't have subpoena power, So when we do have a case, what we try to do is mediate by inviting both parties in. We can't force that. So the complainant, we give them other options, which would be to go to the Mass Commission Against Discrimination or to the Attorney General's office. But we still will reach out. For example, a family recently had some racist graffiti painted onto their house, and we've spoken to the family. We reach out, but we always ask the victim what it is they want from us before we do anything.
Very good. Who is it that should bring a complaint, a situation that they've experienced to the Human Rights Commission?
Well, again, that would be anyone who feels that they are a victim of harassment, intolerance, prejudice, based on the fact that they are a protected class. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. My sense is that certainly the Human Rights Commission website is a place to go to learn more about what the group is doing, as well as I think there is a complaint form that somebody could actually print out and conceivably file to the commission if they felt the need. My sense is that identities, sometimes people might be concerned about bringing a complaint to the commission and having sort of exposing maybe their particular situation. Is anonymity something that's protected by the commission in its proceedings?
Well, if the victim files a police report, then that becomes public record. They don't always file a police report. They sometimes just call our number or get in touch with one of our commissioners, at which time we can email them or send them a complaint form and keep it confidential. But they have to realize, and they do, of course, because we explain it to them, that once it's filed with the police, that it does become public record. And yes, there's a little bit of a danger in that there's that thing called retribution.
Well, I thank you, Sherry, for taking a few minutes to chat with me, give Arlingtonians a sense of what it is the Human Rights Commission does, and conceivably use you as a resource if they need to.
We would hope that anybody who has any issues and feels as though they've been a victim, that they go to our website, which is arlingtonhumanrightscommission.org, or we have a number at Town Hall. I believe it's 617. Oh, wait. 781-316-3750. And there's a machine which will pick up, and somebody scans the calls every month. Or if they choose to, they can go directly to the police. The police then notify us, and the police has been an amazing resource.
Super. Very good.
All right.
Thanks very much.
You're very welcome.
For Sherry Barron, I'm Peter Bermudez. Thanks for joining us on this special Town Day edition of Wide Angle.
When you come here, you don't really have to feel like you don't know anybody. You know all of them because they're like your family and they treat you like family. And you're supposed to treat them like family because the children is a place to love and hope.
Welcome back to this special edition, a Town Day edition of Wide Angle. I'm Peter Bermudez. I have the honor of sitting next to Adam Chapdelaine, our Arlington's town manager. Welcome.
Thank you, Peter. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. Thank you for taking a few minutes. And befitting the occasion, it's Town Day after all. Let's sort of figure out what it is that makes Arlington the town that it is. So specifically, town versus city. Yeah, I think many people probably have the impression that what distinguishes a town from a city is the population, the size. And if you look around Arlington, it would seem to hold true. But in fact, for Arlington, which is a town, 43,000 in population, look at a neighboring community, Melrose, a city, population of roughly 27,000. So the numbers don't seem to necessarily be definitive to what is the distinction. So what's the difference between a town and a city?
So the major difference is how that town or city has chose to govern themselves. And though there's no population criteria that make you automatically a city, in Massachusetts you have to be at least 12,500, have 12,500 residents to be a city. So very small communities can't be cities in Massachusetts. But what even further adds to the confusion is nationally, it's also very different. There's cities, there's towns, there's townships, there's villages, there's boroughs. So if you're just an average citizen hearing all these different terms for what your community is designed as, it can be very confusing. But here in Mass, if you're a city, you most likely have a mayor and a city council or a board of aldermen, which serves as a legislative body. In a town, you most likely have a board of selectmen, some kind of town manager or town administrator, and town meeting, which serves as the legislative body. So here in Arlington, we're a town, as you've said. We have a board of selectmen. They hire me as the town manager, and then we have a representative town meeting with 252 elected town meeting members.
Okay, and let's certainly continue with the comparison, and you speak to a town manager versus a mayor. How do those jobs functionally equate? You've been a town manager, I think really for your entire, or a deputy town manager for your entire adult life now. Would you want to be a mayor? And what would be the difference if you were?
So often the differences can be lined up by levels of authority or responsibility, and there's a lot of variations in different types of town structures of how much authority the town administrator or town manager has, and usually when the title shifts from administrator to manager, it vests more actual authority in the manager. In most cases where there's an independently elected mayor, not to add to the confusion, but in some communities the mayor is just the president of the city council, but if you're an independently elected mayor, usually you have more sole executive authority vested in you as the mayor. Whereas here, even though I have a great deal of executive authority, I ultimately share the executive authority with the Board of Selectmen. So that would be the major difference, that if you're an independently elected mayor, you have more direct authority. And would I want to be a mayor? I guess, the question is, I have to keep 5 people happy who are my elected bosses, but I view that as having to keep 43,000 people happy or at least satisfied. A mayor has to run for election every other 2 or 4 years, whereas a town manager is more directly accountable to 5 elected board members. So they're not completely different, but they're different in that regard. And I feel like a town manager, you're allowed a higher degree of professional management, whereas a mayor can often be strained by the needs to be more of a political manager.
Down at the sort of at the grassroots level and where we citizens reside. Certainly in Arlington, there is, as you say, there's a town meeting. And I'm wondering if that structure, if that form of governance provides town members with more of a say in what actually goes on in a town than in perhaps a city structure would allow.
I think it absolutely does. Most everything I do, I think about it in terms of, can I sell this to town meeting? Can I convince town meeting this is the right thing to do? Because there's most of the time, if we need to spend money on something, if we want a project to go forward, we need town meeting to approve that. So we always think of it in terms of, can we get this very large body of citizens to think this is right for the town? Yeah. And also, there's some decisions that we might not need them to proactively endorse, but they could certainly file articles to stop something that we've decided to do. So even on that front, we have to think, okay, is what we're putting forward something that's not going to be met with much obstruction or obstacle from the community? So I feel like there is a high level of engagement, and it's not just the town meeting members. In Arlington, there's also over 70 committees of citizens that work on a number of issues that end up percolating up to town meeting. So there's a 21-member finance committee, a 9-member capital planning committee, there's recycling committees, there's traffic advisory committees, all these various committees. And they're not all the same people who serve on town meeting. So there's just tremendous citizen engagement in this town form of government.
Right. And I was going to say, so certainly there are a lot of opportunities for Arlingtonians who are interested, and certainly a lot of avenues to having their voices heard through committees, through town meeting, if they wanted to run for that position.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Right. Well, thanks very much for taking a few minutes to chat with me and clarify why Arlington is the town that it is.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. For Adam Chapdelaine, I'm Peter Bermudez. Thanks for joining us on this special edition of Wide Angle.